I have taken a horrible, horrible hit in life. In the last few weeks, well, maybe the last month or two actually, I have decided to watch 43 Adam Sandler movies. 43 of them. I love Adam Sandler, and he's got some great stuff. But dear God, are there some stinkers. So, with having watched 43 Adam Sandler movies, which is all of the movies in his career where he is the main character and or significant side character in the film, let's go ahead and rank them all from worst to best, in my opinion. So, let's go ahead and start with number 43. Alright, so number 43 is Going Overboard. This movie is Adam Sandler's first starring role, and I wouldn't even say starring role because it is so insignificant to his career. This was like before he was ever even known. Like, this is before anything. Like, this movie has zero relation to who Adam Sandler really is today. I mean, it was bad. The movie was horrible. I don't know who thought this movie would work or why they thought this movie would work, but it was bad. Frankly, I only own the movie because I needed to watch it, you know? And, I mean, why not own Adam Sandler's first ever movie? It's just cool to have, you know? But I just like seeing movies where people start their careers, and honestly, this is one that I could do without every day of the week. I mean, we do not need to watch Going Overboard ever again. If you're going to watch Going Overboard, I beg of you, tell me what you think in the comment section afterwards, because from number 43 to 42, the jump is so big, it's not even funny. People talk crap on other Adam Sandler movies, but it's like, dudes, y'all don't understand where this man started. Like, he made a threat a couple years ago when Uncut Gems came out and said that if he didn't win an award for the film, that he was going to make the worst movie ever. He already did. He made Going Overboard at the beginning of his career. Like, he will do it again. He'll make Going Overboard 2. Like, it's so bad, but what are you going to do? So at number 42, we have Jack and Jill. And, you know, like I said, this might be number 42, but it's truly a massive leap from number 43. I honestly hadn't seen this movie for the longest time, and I watched it actually like a few months ago, not even when I was going to make the video. So this movie was still fresh in my memory banks. And it's just a train wreck. I mean, Adam Sandler playing himself, playing both a boy and a girl, twin brother and sister, Jack and Jill. The movie's just bad. Adam Sandler, this is kind of like his time period where he was making only family-friendly stuff, and I get it, he had little kids at the time, and he said, I want to make stuff that they'll enjoy, and I'm sure little kids loved Jack and Jill, but me, I didn't, and it's number 42 on this list, for sure. Number 41 is You Don't Mess with the Zohan. This one, alright, I enjoyed it because of Adam Sandler's accent. I don't know what it is, but some things that Sandler does with his voice suck, and I hate. I hate the nagginess of Jill in Jack and Jill. That gets me so mad. But his accent as Zohan is just beautiful, wonderful. And honestly, other than the accent, the movie's not worth watching. It's full of toilet humor, as is a lot of Sandler's early work. Even some stuff now, but nowhere near as much. Movie really isn't worth watching. If you're going to watch all of Adam Sandler's movies, I wouldn't recommend until maybe the 35 mark on this list. But moving on from 41. Number 40 is The Ridiculous Six, which is Sandler's first Netflix original, and it was actually his comedic look on The Magnificent Seven, which is a great Western movie, and I do not like Westerns. This movie, though, it upset me greatly. I was so hyped when he got his Netflix deal, and it's like, what did it amount to? You know, he made a lot of his Netflix movies have been stinkers, and that is not cool by any means necessary. Almost like Netflix is holding him back, or he just knew he had a bunch of stinkers in there that he could make money off of Netflix. I don't know, but it really doesn't please me, I'm not gonna lie. The only scene memorable from The Ridiculous Six is when Taylor Lautner's character is literally swinging around like a friggin' crazy person while he's being hung. Like, I don't. The movie has so many cast members, so many characters. It it is an interesting first Netflix movie, but it was just not executed to the best of its ability. That's my opinion. Number 39, The Do-Over. Another Netflix movie, his second actually. So by the time the Do-Over released a year after Ridiculous 6, I expected mediocrity, honestly, because I didn't trust Netflix and to this day, I don't know if this movie was Netflix's doing or Sandler's, but it stinks and it upsets me and it makes me upset simply because it's like, oh, look at how the mighty have fallen. When I was a little kid, Adam Sandler was huge. He had another movie every other year, and he was huge, massive. And I just feel like his Netflix stuff really does not compare to a lot of his older stuff. Which brings me to number 38, The Week Of, which is yet another Netflix original. Do we see a pattern here yet? No? Okay. So yeah, Sandler's Netflix movies, I was kind of scared to watch this for a while because they've all kind of stunk, you know? I mean, Sandler just really, I don't know, he couldn't catch a break for a few years through Netflix. Really couldn't. Now, all the movies did well. They got a lot of streams, and that's why Netflix, of course, made a deal with Adam Sandler. He sells, you know? Even if the movie's trash, everyone's going to go see it because what if it's the next Happy Gilmore, you know? Which is, I think, to this day, his most successful movie of all time. But the movie, basically, you know, Sandler and his friend Chris Rock play opposing fathers when their children are getting married and the family comes into town. It's almost like, you know, the bringing of two families into your classic, oh, well, we can't handle each other kind of ordeal, and it gets crazy and out of hand, and it's just, it's overused. I feel like it's been done before, and done better. So, this movie, actually, I had a crisis when this movie came out. I was scared because I thought I outgrew Adam Sandler, and I'm glad that some more recent projects has proven otherwise. It's just Sandler was in a bit of a rut, so I'm glad. Number 37 is Pixels, which in August of 2015, I wanted to see Pixels so friggin' bad. Like, I remember being there because it's like, I love Adam Sandler and I love video games. What can go wrong? Everything. Everything can go wrong. Everything in the world can go wrong. Everything known to man. I was disappointed, and I was stuck trying to place this on the list because, honestly, the last 3 Netflix movies we talked about and Pixels all kind of stink about the equal amount. And it goes to show that Sandler was in a rut before the Netflix deal. Like, The Ridiculous 6 came out in, 2016? Pixels was 2015. So Sandler was already struggling in 2015 with Pixels. So it's just like, I feel like he really signed the deal just because he was in a creative rut himself and wanted Netflix to, you know, bring him to streaming, obviously, but also piggyback off their success to hopefully lead to his success. That's what I think. And it's worked, in my opinion. But Pixels is just not where it's at. Number 36 is another Netflix original, 2017's Sandy Wexler, which is actually a comedy based on his longtime agent Sandy Wernick, which I didn't know for the longest time. He renamed it, obviously, Sandy Wexler for the film, and it's about this weird and goofy sounding agent who just loves, his his customers, is that the word? Clients, there we go, that's the word. He just loves his clients, and he will do anything and lie to them just to make them feel more comfortable. He's not the best agent, but he always seems to, get things done eventually. I think the biggest thing that kills the movie actually is how obnoxious his voice is and his laugh. Oh my god. Honestly, you get rid of the laugh and the movie's like 5 times better, and maybe like 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 spots up on this list. That's my honest opinion. But it kills the movie, the laugh. The Sandy Wexler laugh kills the movie. So at number 35, I have a movie that's kind of controversial to be this low. Punch Drunk Love. Okay, so a lot of people find this movie to be super good, and honestly, it just doesn't sit well with me. For a while, I struggled to finish it. I actually watched it maybe 4 or 5 times, and every single time, I would just be like, I can't do it. I don't want to watch this, And people say it's because, it's not a comedy. It's not, it's not something that you're used to seeing Adam Sandler in. But I love some of Adam Sandler's dramas, and Punch Drunk Love is more drama than comedy. But Sandler is a more serious role in this film. Like I had said, he is the owner of a bathroom supply factory, and it's just, I don't know, he's weird and awkward to the point where it makes me feel weird and awkward. You ever watch that stuff where you're just like, ugh, like you feel gross? I don't know. That's how he made me feel in this movie, and I don't know why, because like there's definitely more weird and awkward movies than Punch Drunk Love, but I think it's because I'm used to seeing Sandler so loud and obnoxious, and this movie was the first movie where he was not that. But it doesn't help that the dude has a bunch of naggy sisters who basically treat him like crap and walk all over him. I don't know, the movie just, I don't know. It has moments that I enjoy it, but it really isn't for me. Tell me what you think of Punch Drunk Love down below. If you've seen it and you really enjoy it, let me know, because I literally, it took 4 or 5 chances. I think I stopped watching it 4 times, and then the 5th try, I actually finished watching it. And it isn't for me. Number 34 is Little Nicky. This is a movie that I knew existed for pretty much my entire life, but I didn't watch simply because, I don't know, it wasn't interesting to me. I don't know. My mother used to tell me that when I would get really like upset, like I'd tense up a little bit, and I'd kind of talk like Little Nicky, how he's kind of like get in the flash, and it's just stupid. But she was like, she's like, stop doing that. You look like Little Nicky. And I'm just like, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. It's not. My mom was bullying me. My mother's a bully to her own son. But no, the movie, there's enjoyable parts. Sandler's voice wasn't very good. It took me out of it quite a bit. But there are points in the film that I actually laughed out loud. It's just, some weird, dark, stupid humor. And, if you're into it, you're into it. If you're not, you're not. That's just kind of how the cookie crumbles. And for the most part, I was not. All right, so number 33 might be the most controversial film on the entire list until maybe, like, the movies in my top 10. But Grown Ups 2 is actually my 33rd film. All right? So this movie makes me genuinely furious, all right? When it first released, I was so excited to see it. I love the first Grown Ups. The first Grown Ups came out in 2010, all right? I was 11 years old. I was like perfect age for Grown Ups. And that movie for the longest time was never not on my TV. Like, I remember going and buying the DVD as a kid and making sure this movie was constantly on. If I was, eating food, it was on the TV in my house. If I was going to bed, it was on the TV in my house, in my bedroom. Like, it's just how it was. And this movie constantly, I don't even need to watch the first Grown Ups anymore, simply because I've seen it so many times. I know everything. So when Grown Ups 2 came out, I was so excited. And it was a fun movie and all, but really lost what made me love the first movie. So Sandler's character in the first film was like Hollywood, that's who he is. And he's rich and he's living out in LA, and he's not that anymore. He moved back to his whole old hometown to be close to his friends, and he's, roughing it with the middle class, and his kids aren't, cocky like they were in the first one, because they've now, they're living, normal lives, and it kind of, that whole family then kind of just loses its charm to me, and it really is how that was. Sandler's character and his whole family kind of just went, that movie. I didn't care about them. Not to mention, Rob Schneider was completely left out of the movie, who, I'm going to be completely honest, Rob Schneider's character was probably my favorite in the Grown Ups movie, just because of the arrow in the foot scenario. Also, his daughters in the first one, where everyone else was just like, that's gotta be 90% the mother, like, it's such a good first movie, and to leave out one of the biggest characters from the first one. And now I do know that it was actually due to movie scheduling that he was left out, but it's just like, come on, like, wait another year, you know what I mean, or wait something, I don't know, or like wait for your friend to have the time. Don't ruin a franchise, you know what I mean? But they did. It is said, like, online, that Nick Swardson in Grown Ups 2, who plays the alky bus driver, is supposed to be Schneider's brother in the film, but we're never actually confirmed with that information. It's just kind of out there on the internet. Yeah. And the final act of Grown Ups 2, it doesn't seem as special as the first one. This movie was literally just old people can fight and kick college kids' asses. Like, okay, we get it. I mean, it's full of cute moments and fun times, but the first Grown Ups film is far better, and honestly, I don't like watching Grown Ups 2. Number 32 is Bulletproof. In my opinion, it's totally underrated, but it's not really talked about because it's more of a Damon Wayans movie. You know what I mean? I mean, it's just Sandler. I feel like he's made so much that people forget about it, but then when you're talking about Damon Wayans, it's like, oh yeah, Bulletproof, And it just doesn't hold a candle to a lot of Sandler's other movies. Still totally underrated, though. Number 31 is Hubie Halloween, which is a Sandler Netflix film, and it is totally stupid. Sandler uses one of his dumb voices, but I genuinely loved the movie. I don't know why, but I love that Sandler brought back so many of his old movies for this. Like, Ben Stiller returned as the evil nurse person from Happy Gilmore. Not to mention bringing back the O'Doyle rules, from Billy Madison. I just love when movies do that little bit of, here is something for you, something to sink your teeth into, and it keeps you wanting to watch. And the movie, like I said, it's not incredible, which is why it's number 31. But watching it was like a breath of fresh air because I got so much crap from Adam Sandler on Netflix. This is one of the more enjoyable Netflix movies by him, and it's still just number 31 on the list. Number 30 is Hotel Transylvania 3, Summer Vacation, which is my least favorite of the Adam Sandler trilogy of the franchise, simply because he wasn't in the fourth movie, which I think was released only to Prime Video. Hotel Transylvania 3 just seemed lazier than the first two movies and lacked in storytelling, in my opinion. So yeah. Number 29 is Spanglish, which it's not a bad movie, actually. Sandler is part of an awesome ensemble in this film. It's more of a drama than any other genre. In the movie, he plays your average husband and father who, alongside his wife, hire a nanny to take care of his kids and stuff around the house, and it creates weird dynamics within the household between Sandler, the nanny, as well as who takes in charge of the children, because in certain scenes, the nanny's taking all the kids out, but then, the mother of the household is like, oh, well, let me take the nanny's kid out with my kids, but then the nanny gets all upset, and it's just like, just household drama. It's not one of my favorites, but it exists, and it's not bad. Like I said, it's more of a drama than anything, and that's kind of why it's, not a Sandler classic, but it is an enjoyable movie, and if you want to watch one of Adam Sandler's few dramas, go ahead and check it out. It's really not bad. So, number 28 on this list is Anger Management. Sandler plays an aggressive middle-aged man who, after a confrontation on an airplane, is forced to attend anger management classes, and he quickly realizes that his teacher is completely insane and moves in with Sandler's character. By the way, his teacher is played by Jack Nicholson, so wow, what an iconic duo right there, Sandler and Nicholson. That's awesome. The movie really was just, I don't know, it wasn't one that I really wanted to watch, and it wasn't something that I loved growing up. But I rewatched it recently. It's fun. It's not like anything special, but it's not bad at all. You know what I mean? I feel like Jack Nicholson outshines Adam Sandler 10 times out of 10 in this film. So I feel like if I was ranking Jack Nicholson movies, this would probably be higher up on Nicholson's side. But for Adam Sandler, it's just not something that I go, oh yeah, that's an Adam Sandler movie. So, yeah. Number 27 is I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry. Okay, so this movie came out in 2007, starring Adam Sandler and Kevin James as two firemen who are in the New York area. After a close call, almost dying, they try to take advantage of the system by marrying each other for their life insurance policy, get money, be rich, things work out, you know what I mean? The only issue was they actually become pretty famous, like, overnight for being, an out gay couple that are firemen. It's unheard of in 2007. Well, not unheard of, but just really rare. And, it's just, the movie's good, but there's a lot of cheap laughs, and over the years, the film has actually grown to be controversial with a lot of its jokes, which I totally understand, but it's really not a terrible movie. It's just kind of, if we're going to use terms for when I rank movies, this is a mid movie. If you watch any of my ranking videos, this is a mid movie. It's nothing special, but it's not bad. All right, so number 26 is The Cobbler. This movie is so underappreciated, in my opinion, and it is odd because not many people know about Adam Sandler's The Cobbler. A lot of casual moviegoers obviously have no clue, but even collectors like myself who go out of their way to watch movies and collect movies have no idea what The Cobbler is, and it blows my mind, actually, because Sandler is such a big part of Hollywood, you know what I mean? So the movie is about a shoe cobbler, Adam Sandler, whose machine breaks, and so he goes and uses his father's old machine in the basement that is, just down there and hasn't been used in years and years and years. And so one day Sandler finds out if he puts the shoes on after using them on the machine, he physically turns into the person that owns the shoes. Now, it's a very dumb concept, and that's fine, in my opinion. It's funny. It's enjoyable. I don't know, The Cobbler just doesn't sit entirely perfectly well with me. The movie has heart, it just isn't perfect, and it's not a classic. Number 25 is Funny People, which is a Judd Apatow movie. The movie really needs to be shorter in length for me to fully enjoy it for what it truly is, which is a good drama about a comedian who's been told he has a terminal illness and will die. So he takes a young, struggling comedian under his wing, which is played by Seth Rogen. Meanwhile, an old love comes back into his life, and it all just causes this whole thing. I like the story of it. It just takes way too long to tell, and it just lulls. The movie has lulls in it. I feel like if they cut out 20 to 30 minutes, Funny People is far more enjoyable, in my opinion. Like I said, great cast of characters, great directing, great story. Just cut 20 minutes off, and we've got ourselves probably an A-ranking movie, but it's not there. All right, guys, so number 24 is going to be controversial because a lot of people love this Adam Sandler movie, Uncut Gems. It's looked at as the role that saved Sandler's career, which, in recent years, I understand. He's flailing around that Netflix cesspool of garbage, and I can see why people enjoy this movie. It has a ton of great characters to it. The story is pretty good, but for me, it just seems way too fast-paced at first, and then it hits this weird lull when Sandler's character and his family are all together under the same roof, and his wife is trying on her, was it her wedding dress or her prom dress? I can't remember which one. But that scene, that specific area of the movie just hits, it's this weird, it feels like it's almost out of place, and it just, I don't know, it took me out, but the last 30 minutes of this movie are just wonderful. Probably some of the best work I've seen in a Sandler movie in a long time, and I do agree that the ending of Uncut Gems, along with a major shock ending, is phenomenally well done. It's just that I feel like it could have been great all the way through. There's just, that lull in there that it lost me. And now maybe it's because I was busy with my nephew, and he was there with me, and he's not going to enjoy Uncut Gems, but I was trying to watch it, so maybe I need to rewatch it by myself. Maybe I'll enjoy it more the second time around, but the first time around, it was like, all right, I get why people like it. It's not a bad movie by any means necessary. It's just not great. All right, so number 23 is the Meyerowitz Stories, which is a Netflix original. I enjoyed this movie, and I love the natural feeling between the main cast of characters. They're I keep stuttering over my words. They are all a part of a big family, the Meyerowitz family. And there's some great actors and actresses in this film, truthfully. But the biggest turnoff from this film is Adam Sandler's daughter in the movie makes these weird short films in college, and it just always has to do with really odd things. I don't know, it didn't fit in this movie. I feel like it would have been a lot better of a movie if that was left out. The Meyerowitz Stories is a good movie, but those scenes really take me out of the film, and honestly, this could have easily been maybe number 15 if those scenes didn't exist, if his daughter just didn't do those. It just felt like, a great movie, but then there's toilet humor right there, and it's just like, why did we have to put that in? I don't know, that's how I feel. All right, so number 22 is Adam Sandler's 2002 Hanukkah animated movie, 8 Crazy Nights, which in my opinion is an absolute classic. I remember watching this as a little kid on the old family box TV, which, it's one of those things that existed before we used cell phones to watch TV. The movie is just really well animated. And the story isn't the greatest, but there is heart to it. And even though it's it's not suitable for 6-year-olds like I was when I first watched it, I enjoyed it my whole life. I always loved it. There are some dated scenes in the movie, but I think it still holds up. And I try and watch it every Hanukkah, even though I'm not Jewish and I don't celebrate Hanukkah. I really love 8 Crazy Nights, and so every December I try and watch it on the first night of Hanukkah. Number 21 is Hotel Transylvania 2. So, the second movie in the Hotel Transylvania franchise is way more entertaining than the third one, and followed Sandler voicing the iconic Dracula, of course, as he tries to bring his half-vampire, half-human son's fangs out for the first time. It's honestly a cute story. I enjoy it, and I enjoy watching it when it's on the TV, because it's always on the TV. I live with a 3-year-old. Stuff like this is always on in my household, and I get upset when it's Hotel Transylvania 3 instead of the first or the second one, because I genuinely enjoy HT2 and 1 far more than 3. Number 20 is Murder Mystery, which was my favorite Netflix Adam Sandler movie for a while. It's about a married couple going on their honeymoon to Europe after waiting, a decade, I think it was, over a decade. And while on the plane ride there, Sandler and his on-screen wife, played by Jennifer Aniston, meet a rich and fancy man who tells them of a yacht party, and so they accept the invite, only for a murder to occur, and Sandler and Aniston go on to try and find out who did it, hence the title, Murder Mystery. I actually recently just heard that they're planning on making a second one, which is pretty cool, because I enjoyed Murder Mystery. It's actually one of Sandler's better Netflix films. Like I just said, it was my favorite for a while. It's just, I don't feel like it has a lot of the natural comedy feeling to it. It's not that Sandler, it's not the old school Sandler comedy, you know what I mean? I feel like it's definitely still stupid, but smarter than his old stuff, which I'm cool with. You know, I'm cool with movies being smarter, all right? I mean, I can't stand dumb comedies sometimes, but sometimes you want to turn your brain off, and it really all just depends on how you're feeling that day, in my opinion, and that's what I love about movies. It's always subjective, but I've watched Murder Mystery maybe 3 or 4 times since it released, and every single time, I'm always like, all right, yeah, no, it's not like a classic, but it's good, it's enjoyable. Check it out if you've never seen Murder Mystery. Number 19 is Hotel Transylvania, the first one, obviously. It's honestly one of, if not my favorite Sony animated pictures of all time. From Adam Sandler as Dracula, Selena Gomez as his daughter, Mavis, and Kevin James, David Spade, and Steve Buscemi as Dracula's friends in the movie. It really has this cute little charm to it, having, subtle Romeo and Juliet vibes, with Mavis, who's a vampire, falling in love with Jonathan, who's played by Andy Samberg, who is a human. It really does. I feel like the story was there, and that's why Hotel Transylvania 3 really just doesn't do it for me, is because I feel like the story isn't good. The first one had a point. The second one had a point. The third one is just kind of like, oh yeah, here's every character that you know, and now let's go on a vacation. It's just, I don't know, dumb. Alright, so number 18 is That's My Boy, which is an oddly placed Adam Sandler movie, because when it released in 2012, Adam Sandler's last few movies were Jack and Jill, and then, of course, I think right after this movie, he released Hotel Transylvania, and literally, they are polar opposites. I mean, That's My Boy is raunchy, full of slapstick comedy. The plot of this movie is literally Sandler is a preteen, I think. He's in middle school. He gets his teacher pregnant, has a kid, teacher's in prison. Sandler and his parents, I think actually just his dad, raised the kid. Then, years and years later, Sandler sees his son, who hates him, is getting married in a magazine because apparently this kid is rich now. I don't know. And he just shows up to the wedding and is like, hey, what's up? It's really... My phone just went off. I don't know why.
I didn't understand that.
Me neither, bro. No, but I don't understand why that went off. But That's My Boy. When it first came out, I loved it because I was like 14 or 15 watching it for the first time, and every teenage boy loves raunchy comedy. But as I've grown older, I really question it because it's like, what the fuck are some of these scenes? I mean, Vanilla Ice is in there selling chicken nuggets for some reason. What? It's got some good laughs, but it doesn't compare to a lot of Sandler's best work, in my opinion. But it's still, I could still put it on and be like, yo, this is so stupid, it's good. You know? So I enjoy it. Number 17 is The Waterboy, which is a 1998 Sandler movie, and it was huge. People love it. And honestly, I did too for a long time. I rewatched it recently for this video, and it doesn't hold up. I feel like, you know, I don't know. It could be better, but it's dated now. You know, 1998 was a long time ago now, which is sad to say because I was born in 99, which makes me old. But no, it could have been better, but I get it. It's Bobby Boucher's H2O, you know? Number 16 is Blended, which is Adam Sandler co-starring with Drew Barrymore for the third movie that they were together in. And honestly, this is my least favorite of the Barrymore-Sandler trilogy, but it's still a very good movie about two broken families coming together as one and blending in with one another. I genuinely do enjoy Blended. I think the cast works really well together. And I don't even just mean Sandler and Barrymore. They always work well together. But from, you know, their kids in the movie all the way to the Terry Crews's character where he's just, you know, bouncing his pecs around and singing. It's just, I really do love everything about Blended. It's just there's better movies than Blended. Number 15 on this list is Men, Women, and Children, which I just watched for the first time a few days ago. It doesn't, you know, alright, it doesn't focus on Sandler the entire time, so realistically, this movie isn't like a huge Sandler movie. There's a lot more characters to it, and it follows a massive amount of characters. But Sandler's character in it is interesting. I find it very cool, actually. He plays a middle-aged man, married, his wife is cheating on him, he's cheating on his wife at the same time. You know, they're just, and they don't know about it, obviously, but then he confronts her and is like, hey, you fucking cheated on me. And he doesn't make her feel bad about it, but, like, obviously she feels bad about it. And he never tells her that he cheated. And I feel like it's very, real, actually. Like, a lot of people would be like, that's bullshit. You should tell your significant other if you cheated on them, you know what I mean? Just to get it over with. But, like, so many people have cheated and just don't tell their significant other. And, you know, I don't think I could ever do that, but then again, I've never been in that position of cheating, so yeah. Adam Sandler, like I said, his role in the film is good. I enjoy his character, but really, Men, Women, and Children is so much more than just the Adam Sandler story. I think there's 3 or 4 story arcs in this film. Check it out if you've never seen it. It is a fantastic watch. Number 14 is Bedtime Stories. This is enjoyable as hell, and even though it's a Disney movie, there are some really great jokes in there. Story is really well done. Sandler's character works in a hotel his father started. Sandler is now a maintenance man, and it's just like, his boss is kind of just like, you exist, you know? And he feels like crap. And one night, his sister asks him to, you know, watch her kids while she goes somewhere. And so he does, and he's reading these kids' bedtime stories, and the next day, things start to happen. The stories become real life, with a twist, but it becomes real life, and it is enjoyable. If you've never seen Bedtime Stories, check it out. I have probably watched it maybe 5 or 6 times since it came out years and years ago, but it's kind of just like that child-friendly era Sandler was doing because he had kids that were young. I feel like it's one of those movies like, oh, I want my kids to see it someday, when they're kids. Here's bedtime stories. Like I said, it's good, it's just not incredible. Number 13 is The Wedding Singer, which is the first Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore movie together. And though it's wildly successful, and I do really love this movie, we're so far up on this list already. All of the movies, maybe the last 7 or 8, are all great films in my opinion. It was hard to choose at this point. You know what I mean? It just seems a little dated when I'm watching it, and I never actually watched the movie when I was growing up. So the first time I saw it, I think I was 19. The movie would follow Sandler as a wedding singer who's trying to plan his own wedding, but the new waitress at his job, played by Drew Barrymore, seemingly changes his plans. They fall for each other, and it's a really, really cute rom-com. And I think it, in my opinion, is one of his best romantic comedies. So yeah, check it out if you've never seen it. I mean, it is a certified classic. Number 12 on this list is Just Go With It. Adam Sandler, Jennifer Aniston team up on this movie. Sandler plays Dr. Danny Maccabee, an extremely well-known plastic surgeon who lies to get with women, finding himself in a massive lie with this one very, very attractive woman who he believes could be the one. So basically, Danny, wears a wedding ring that is fake, uses it to his advantage to take advantage of women. When he finds this woman, he's not wearing the ring, but it is in his pant pocket, and so she finds it the next day and is like, "You're married? What is this?" And so he forms up a lie that he was married. He's in the middle of a really rough divorce with his ex-wife, who is Jennifer Aniston, but really it's not his ex-wife. She's his assistant at work. And so he has to use Aniston as his ex-wife, as well as her children as their children, to prove to this new fling that he isn't married, but he was. The movie is weird, but for like 99% of it, it's a certified classic. I used to watch this when I was younger and really enjoy it. I think Jennifer Aniston and Adam Sandler work incredibly well on screen together. Dare I say, just as great as Sandler and Drew Barrymore. I think both of those teams are fantastic couples on screen together. But if you've never seen Just Go With It, just go see it. Number 11 is Reign Over Me, which is probably one of my favorite dramatic roles from Adam Sandler. It blew my friggin' mind, honestly. Reign Over Me released in 2007. I was a young kid and really wasn't aware of the movie before watching it, but it really showed me from a young age just how incredible of an actor Adam Sandler could be in a dramatic role. Sandler plays a man named Charlie who's suffering with depression and PTSD after having lost his family in the 9/11 attacks in New York City. It's in the movie that Charlie's old college roommate, Alan, who's played by Don Cheadle, sees him, tries catching up with him, rekindling their friendship. Even though Charlie is obviously struggling, he shows Alan his willingness to try and, get better and, become, part of society over time. I think this movie is ridiculously underappreciated and underrated. Every time I watch it, I love it. And Sandler really portrays your average everyday man who's battling with his own mind. He has demons. And there's one scene in particularly where he tells Cheadle's character, Alan, he said, the last time I spoke to my wife, that they argued, they and it's like he holds that years after the attacks, after she died, and I think that's kind of the scene where Alan realizes, like, you know, okay, he's obviously struggling. He holds himself accountable for a lot of things he said, and it's really sad. And I think that both Sandler and Cheadle do incredible in this movie. Reign Over Me is absolutely worth watching. I wholeheartedly recommend it. It'll definitely be well worth your time. And if you disagree with me, I don't even want to hear it in the comment section, because I'm about to go watch Reign Over Me again. I watched it 2 weeks ago for the millionth time, and I'm literally going to go watch it again just because I'm talking about it, and I just want to watch it again. It's good. Very good. It was really hard deciding where to put this movie because I love it, and it just outside of my top 10. All right, so I took like a 10-minute break, grabbed some water, because I've been here for over an hour now recording this. Video's obviously going to be cut to as, low as possible, but I've now been recording for over an hour, preparing for over an hour, so let's move on. We have finally reached my top 10 movies. This was very, very hard to figure out, but here we go. Number 10 is Airheads. This movie is one of Sandler's earliest movies. He co-stars with Brendan Fraser and Steve Buscemi as a rock and roll band who go to a radio station trying to get them to play their newest song, and they end up causing a hostage situation, taking taking the radio station over using fake guns full of, they call it pepper sauce. I can only assume pepper sauce is like hot sauce. I don't know. I don't know. Honestly, it's a fun movie to sit back, relax, and kind of just turn your brain off. It's a stellar main cast. Like I said, it's Sandler, Brendan Fraser, and Steve Buscemi. That's insane. But it also has great side and supporting roles, played by Chris Farley, Joe Mantegna, and Amy Locane. This movie would never work in today's world with the way cameras are all over the place, as well as security guards armed at the T at every door at every facility. But it's full of laughs, and it leaves me with a smile on my face every time I watch it. Like I said, it is underappreciated, and I try telling people to watch it at every chance I can. Number 9 is 50 First Dates. So once again, Adam Sandler teams up with Drew Barrymore in this, rom-com classic, in my opinion. Drew Barrymore plays Lucy, a girl who, after a car crash, relives the same day over and over again. Things go wonky in her life when Henry Roth, who is Adam Sandler, meets her and quickly falls head over heels. Finding out about Lucy's condition, Henry would try every single day in weird different scenarios, which sometimes would go wrong, but to make her fall in love with him every single day. The movie has aged somewhat poorly, but I can still watch it and love it simply because I did as a kid, and it's by far my favorite of the Adam Sandler, Drew Barrymore trilogy films. It's just something about it because it came out when I was little. I was like, I wasn't like the perfect age for the movie. I was definitely on the younger side, but I literally have the VHS tape. I don't know, is it right behind me on the shelf? It's not. So I have VHS tapes back there on my shelf, but I have a bunch more in my closet, just to my left of me. But 50 First Dates, I had it on VHS. I have it on DVD. It's like, the movie is fantastic, in my opinion, and one of Adam Sandler's timeless films, in my opinion. All right, so number 8 is Hustle. This is Adam Sandler's newest movie, which released on Netflix in the last, month and a half. It's a sports drama with, obviously, Adam Sandler, but he plays a scout for the Philadelphia 76ers basketball team, who, he finds a player from Spain that his boss refuses to back, and so Sandler brings the player to the United States, quits his job with the 76ers, and devotes all of his time to his player. Honestly, it's one of my favorite Sandler movies, actually. Like, one of my favorite dramas of his. In my opinion, one of his best movies. If you want to know more about it and like more in depth, I have a movie review on the channel. There will be a link in the description below. But I've probably watched Hustle 4 times since it came out, and I have thoroughly enjoyed it all 4 times. So yeah, it is definitely up there on the list already. Now, years from now, will it have dropped? Who knows? But in my opinion, it is a top 10 Adam Sandler movie. So number 7 is Mr. Deeds, which, oh God, it's so bad that it's good. Mr. Deeds is all about a guy named Longfellow Deeds who lives in a small town in the middle of nowhere running a pizza shop and makes birthday cards as a side hustle. His life changes when he finds out his uncle, who he never met, passed away and is extremely rich. So, of course, Longfellow goes to New York City in order to attend the funeral, collect his uncle's belongings and cash. And it's there that he meets this woman who's played by Winona Ryder, who is incredible. It is actually one of my favorite roles that she plays. I don't know why, but it is. The movie has a ton of that early career Sandler comedy to it. And oddly enough, one of my favorite side characters is the freaky foot fetish-filled butler dude who keeps trying to put on Adam Sandler's like socks. And I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. It exists though. Dude is weird as hell. It's pretty much just it's just a wild film. It's a fun time. I do love it because it's so stupid and a major part of my childhood. It's one of those movies that, in my opinion, just because I saw it as a little kid, it won't ever leave Sandler's top 10. I really don't think it will. Number 6 is Click. This movie was one of the first movies I watched as a kid that actually made me feel sad. Click follows Michael Newman, who is Adam Sandler, a job-obsessed and family-disappointing kind of guy. He just always works. His family never sees him. It's just, it's not a good life, One night he goes to the store because he's pissed off that his neighbors are always with the cool new things. He's trying to find a universal remote. He is given one, and he very quickly finds out he can use it on his real life, which means he can mute things, he can pause things, he can rewind and fast forward all he wants, and it quickly leads to him getting out of hand with it, loses things around him, loses people he loves, and it really, if you haven't seen Click, definitely check it out. It's a wonderful movie. There's one scene in particular that I cry probably every time I've watched Click in my entire life. If you've ever seen it, I'm sure you know exactly the scene. So I'm not even going to talk about it. Let's move on to number 5. Number 5 is The Longest Yard, which is a 2005 remake of a classic movie. Sandler plays Paul Crewe, a former, famous quarterback who was put in prison after a drunk driving incident that went crazy. Well, we find out that Crewe is retired from the pros after betting against his own team and then throwing the game. And it's in prison that Crewe forms a group of guys to play football, and they end up actually having a game against the prison guards, who, of course, have their hands in the pockets of the referees of the game. And so it's just a fun football comedy. I genuinely do love this movie, and I never get tired of it. It does help that it came out when I was younger, and it was kind of like one of the first football movies that I ever saw. I think, I watched, Remember the Titans, and then The Longest Yard? That might be that might be it. And then a couple years later, The Blind Side came out. But yeah, no, honestly, this movie is up there for me just because it's a classic from my childhood. It's one of my favorite sports movies of all time. I don't know if it's my top in my top 10 of sports movies ever, but it's definitely just outside of it. It's got to be in my top 15. You know what I mean? There's just so many great sports dramas, you know? It's really hard to choose when you look at it that way, but definitely worth the number 5 spot in the Sandler movie ranking, in my opinion. All right, so these top 4 movies that I have, I don't think will ever change. Now, they might, like, interchange, but, like, they'll always be the top 4 for me, just because these next 4 movies are my childhood. So I put number 4 is Grown Ups. This movie was a massive part of my childhood. I said it earlier. Every time I was at home, the TV was on. I was eating lunch. I was eating dinner. It's playing Grown Ups. If I was trying to sleep, it's playing Grown Ups as background noise. Honestly, like I said earlier, I don't ever really need to watch Grown Ups again, because every time I just think of it, it's playing in my head. It's there. Granted, I do still watch the movie every August just because I love watching it, and I was born in August, so I try watching all my childhood favorites all through the month that I was born, just because I'm odd like that. I don't know. Number 3 is Big Daddy. As much as Grown Ups was a major part of my childhood, Big Daddy was one of the first Adam Sandler movies I ever saw. The movie follows Sonny Koufax, who's obviously played by Adam Sandler, a man who just doesn't have anything going for him in life. He has no job, he has no life, he has no, lady friend. He kind of just thrives on making other people's lives a little bit more miserable. He's a pain in the ass. And it isn't until one day a young boy is dropped off at his doorstep and he's told it's his roommate's son. After telling his roommate, who's actually away in Asia on business, that he'd take the boy to child services, Sonny chooses to instead take care of the boy himself. The movie is full of awesome jokes, awesome scenes, and the story is genuinely one of my favorite in any Sandler movie. If you haven't seen Big Daddy, I definitely need you to go check it out. There's a scene in particular where the boy that Sandler is taking care of actually is taken from him by child services once they realize it's not his son. And it's the stupidest line in the movie, but earlier in the movie, Sandler comments to the kid, like, you don't know how to wipe your ass, and as the kid's being dragged out of the apartment, he goes, but I can wipe my ass. I know how to wipe my ass. And it's just like, fuck, it makes me so sad. Like, I actually tear up watching that scene because I don't know. It just hits my heartstrings, man. And it really helps knowing that the little boy in the movie is a young Dylan and Cole Sprouse, who were very famous on Disney Channel for The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, as well as The Sweet Life on Deck. So yeah. So number 2 is Happy Gilmore. Adam Sandler's biggest movie of all time is Happy Gilmore, which is a movie about golf. A man named Happy Gilmore is put into a must-win golfing tournament in order to buy his grandmother's house back from the bank. Happy, however, is filled with anger issues, oftentimes loses his cool on the course, and it takes the help of a golfing teacher named Chubbs, a woman whom he falls for named Virginia, to coax him into playing with no outbursts and beat the competition. Not to mention Happy fights Bob Barker in a scene and gets his ass whooped, which is to this day probably some of the greatest work in a Sandler movie ever. And finally, my favorite Adam Sandler movie of all time is Billy Madison. Obviously, one of his stupidest, but most iconic movies. Why wouldn't it be, right? Billy Madison released in 95 and was Sandler's first breakout role. He at this point already had roles in movies like Going Overboard and Airheads, as well as Saturday Night Live, where he obviously became big. But this was the first feature-length film, that he was the main character. It was huge. it's about this stupid, idiotic young adult who's told to go back to school and complete every grade within the year to prove to his father that he's capable enough to take over the family business when he decides to retire. Of course, his father's right-hand man is the opposing threat to Billy, as the man would take over if Billy failed to get through school. That, of course, what I just told you is the main premise of the film, but there's so much more, and it's so stupid. I mean, there's literally an entire song and dance scene in this film that starts about Sandler going back to school and how he loves the one teacher that he ends up being in a couple with, Veronica Vaughn. But it ends with him, Veronica, Billy's friends, all the kids from school, and a random clown that we all thought died in this earlier scene, just scream singing about if we have any more gum. It's just like, what the fuck? It's just so stupid. You just need to watch it to believe it. I love the movie. It is fantastic. There's so many iconic scenes like the ah ha 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 shut up, or the scene where he's shaking the fat kid's face and he's just like, stay here as long as you can. You know, it's just scenes like that are just classic. How about the what are you looking at, Swan? And he's in the bathtub just playing with shampoo bottles, or it's just it's wonderful in my opinion. I love the Chris Farley character in that movie, the bus driver. That Veronica Vaughn is one fine piece of ace. It's just like everything about Billy Madison is just like, in a nutshell, kind of, you know, my humor. If you knew me in person, if you know me outside of, you know, recording videos for YouTube, if you're a friend of mine, if you're a relative of mine, you've seen me act stupid. You've seen me act dumb. I say dumb things. I do stupid things because I know that it will gather a response. Whether it's good or bad, I don't really care. I just say and do stupid things all the time because I find them funny. And that's kind of just, you know, the whole point of Billy Madison. Sandler made this movie because he knew it would be stupid and idiotic, but he also knew that people would love it. So it's just, I don't know. It's my favorite Adam Sandler movie. If you disagree, that's totally fine. Tell me what you think. You know, what do you think about this rankings list? All right, is Billy Madison your favorite Adam Sandler movie, or am I like a total moron and is Billy Madison the worst? I don't know. But that is all 44 of Adam Sandler's movies ranked from worst to best. Right? Was it 44? Am I dumb? It's 43, isn't it? It's 43. Guys, do not listen to me. It's 43, not 44. That is all 43 Adam Sandler movies ranked from worst to best, in my opinion. I know a lot of Sandler's work is criticized, and some people just hate on him simply because it was a trend, but I always loved Adam Sandler, and I love his down-to-earth appearance and behavior in real life. As a little kid, Adam Sandler was one of my favorite people to watch on TV, and to this day, if anyone asks me what famous person I would want to meet, it is Adam Sandler every single time. He seems so laid back and down to earth. Like, he's just, you know, if you met him in person, I'm sure he's just like, hey, how's it going? You know, like, you almost don't want to geek out on him because, like, then you'd feel bad. But I don't know. That's just my opinion. Anyways, guys, that's today's video. Sorry it was so long, but there was a ton to go through. If you watched all the way through and you enjoyed the video, please leave a like down below. And if you want more just like this, subscribe. I'll definitely put myself through hell and watch every movie in a actor or director's entire career. So yeah, let me know. And if there's anyone specific you want me to do, let me know. I'll do it. I promise. So yeah, thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in the next one.